Oh no.
Hello,
Hey.
everyone. My name's Hamish.
Oh, and my name is Brandon.
Sorry, I didn't set you up at all there. Welcome to our show. We're just going to chat about all things tech and coding and probably just lots of random stuff. Honestly, I have no agenda for this. We're both just kind of interested in podcasting slash, I don't know, putting ourselves out there, I guess,
Technology,
right? Yeah,
philosophy, family stuff, just whatever,
exactly.
anything that comes to mind.
Yeah, yeah.
We
I'll,
really
I'll
have
do
no,
that.
we really have no pretensions about who's going to be listening in or not listening in.
Gosh, yeah.
But we've been
Apparently,
chatting. We've been chatting for a while. Like we've been chatting for years. Like when I remember we once did this 8-hour conversation on Skype,
yeah, yeah, we
and
did.
it
Like,
was not like 7 hours of just dead time. It was like we were actually chatting like the whole time about I don't know what anymore, but
it was
but
kind of like an extended. Yeah, I wish I could remember too. I think we must have had like there were probably a few moments of silence for. I think we were probably coding. I don't know. It was probably like a bit of back and forth. Yeah,
yes, we okay. I don't know if it was this particular time, but I remember we worked on this project together. It was packet sending. We were trying to build our own voice chat system, and we were sending each other packets. And I think we got it to work.
yeah. I think we did. That's funny. Didn't we like try and like basically rebuild like Skype or whatever, like just the audio
Pretty
side?
much.
Yeah.
And based on the number of chat applications that there are these days, it seems like building your own is a perfectly common activity.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Yeah.
Despite the fact that, like, why would you do it? We already have one chat application. Why do we need 20? But whatever. There seems to be money in it, so people keep
Oh
doing it.
wow. Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt your awesome introduction.
No, that I mean, what is it, right? There's I don't think we're really sure what this is yet, so we'll kind of just let it happen. And but yeah, I was thinking I could share this link with like people. There's like a YouTube page where this is broadcasting. I'm going to open it up and just
Oh,
check
is
it
it
out
live?
real quick.
Live?
Yeah,
On the
yeah,
air live. Okay. So you want some live visitors?
yeah. We can always put this out on like Twitter.
Sure,
Oh
why
yeah,
not?
it's live right now. This is
Do I have
crazy.
you on?
This is crazy. I think so.
I think I do follow you on Twitter. So
I'm gonna put this in a Slack group that I'm part of, and if anyone wants to join, uh, we'll just say, hey, go. Why not? Go for it. Let's see.
so the link you sent me, is that no, that's not the live broadcast link.
Yeah, I'll send you a link, or it's in
Yeah.
you see at the bottom of the screen, or do you not see that? There's like a links button.
I do not see it. Well, you're the admin here, so I guess
I will share it with you. Here we go. Let's see. I'll just put it on Messenger so it's yeah. So yeah, when you have a second, Brandon, I'm sorry I not sent you a link, but what have you been up to today, last week, or and whatnot? What's been on your mind?
let's see. Well, the biggest thing is I've been sick, like dead sick, which is kind of sad because not only because I'm sick, but because we had to postpone our conversation. We were going to do it last week,
Right.
and we had to delay it a little bit. Okay, let me just get this link here.
Yeah, you bet.
What have I been doing the past week? Huh. I went back to work. That's what I did this past
That's right. Yeah.
week, 2
You've been
weeks.
on paternity leave for a while, right? Yeah.
Yep. So my son was born 3 months ago, and being in Quebec, I have an awesome deal where I can take up to 6 months of parental leave, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, the way it works is the mother gets a certain amount of time, the father gets a certain amount of time, and then the parents get to share another period of time. And you can either split it between the husband and the wife, or you can give it all to one or the other. Because Jasmine already quit her job beforehand, we said, okay, you might as well take it all. And I did. And I would happily have taken all 6 months. But things at my work are starting to pick up and starting to. I think I told you about it already. There's been some changes in the upper management parts of the company. And so there's a new CEO, and he wants to really move things along because things have been a little bit stagnant for a bit and want to move things forward. And I sat down with him, and he said, so how's parental leave going? And I'm saying, it's great, blah, blah, blah. I wish I could stay on it forever. No offense to all of you, but,
Yeah.
and I said, but when do you want me back? And he's like, okay, well, you have two options. You can either wait longer and build whatever it is we decide to make, or you can come back sooner and be a part of the decision making of what we actually build.
Mm-hmm.
And normally I would be perfectly content to just build whatever they decide, because I'm a developer, right? That's all I care about, is just me in front of my computer building software. I love that. Maybe building a team, that'd be great too. Like I can build, hire people and lead a team of developers. That I'm cool with. But I figured, as far as my career is concerned, I probably want to, step up, take more responsibility, be part of decision-making process. And if this new CEO is offering me an opportunity to do that at relatively low cost, meaning just return to work sooner than expected, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I went back to work 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. And it's been pretty good. So far, we're in a kind of a brainstorming phase. Like I said, just kind of deciding what it is where we want to go, what we want to do, and so it's been pretty calm, and it helps with the transition back from doing virtually nothing to virtually everything. But yeah, so that's been my week. What about you?
Yes, similar kind of. I didn't come off of a big leave, but I did come off being kind of sick over the last week, and I still am not 100%. But
me neither. In fact, you're probably going to hear me like clear my throat, cough. I have my Kleenex here
there
ready.
We go.
So
come
I
on,
may
just talk.
Yeah, exactly. I might just mute my mic as I cough or something.
Yeah.
Cough out a lung. Yeah.
Well, apparently we have one viewer right now. I don't know if that's a bug or if someone's actually watching. But
oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is real. But
hello.
I shared it in one of these groups I'm part of, so I'm not sure if anyone's watching there. But yeah, my week was pretty good. Like, and for those who don't know, Brandon, you work at it's like a cryptocurrency consulting type place, or maybe you can clarify that. I'm not sure if I got that right.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
We're a Bitcoin / cryptocurrency consultation. Man, I say this all the time. Why did I just have a brain fart? Consultancy. Yeah. Consultancy. And whatever projects you might be interested in, we might be able to help you. So we're mainly focusing on companies and helping them transform their business to be a blockchain oriented a company, but we can in theory work with anyone. But yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. So my week was, like I said, I was recovering from being sick, still recovering. But it's been pretty good. Yeah. Right now at my job, it's like we've hired a lot of new people. So I work at Buffer, and we're rebuilding a big part of our app with like a whole new, we're doing the whole thing where we're like rebuilding in React, which I think like everyone's doing right now in the world. So I went to like a developer conference about Node a while back, and it was like someone was talking about rebuilding your app in React, and everyone just kind of like smiled and nodded because I think everyone's either done it or they're doing it. But we're doing that right now, and so we've grown the team a lot. There's a lot of new people. So yeah, my week, a lot of my time is spent helping new recruits kind of get up to speed, which I really enjoy. I really enjoy teaching and helping people. So that's been a lot of fun. But it's weird. It's a weird kind of weird feeling because I definitely like I've been coding less. And today I actually kind of just carved out time to like hack on something that had been on my mind because I just for a while I just felt like I was just like reviewing pull requests all day, like which can be fun and like talking to people is fun, but sometimes you want like a bit of a different task. So
yeah, that's kind of how a lot of developer career tracks go, right? You start off doing nothing but code. And then the further along you go, the less and less code you do and the more and more people interaction you do. Some people don't like that. When I first started, I was completely happy to be just a coder, just programming. But pretty quickly, actually, I'm like, you know what? I'm not super social, but I like working with people. I like, I especially like teaching people. So what you're doing right now, training new people, that's I'm a little jealous of that. That's the cool. That's that's where it is.
Yeah.
That's the fun job. Do a lot of these new developers come already trained in React, or is that what you're teaching them?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, and in fact, so no, they don't. Like we actually, and this is like probably kind of unique to Buffer, but we hire more based on like just their ability to code in a general sense and like their skill in a general sense. So not like tied to a specific like language or anything like that. Certainly, I think we've like we do want people with some experience at least like a part of our stack, right? Whether it's like Node or the JavaScript side, but we do have a number of people though for which React and even JavaScript isn't like a super strong language for them. So yeah, and so that's been a bit of a learning curve. I was helping someone the day who's, who this is like their first time really dealing with like a big React application, and our React application is huge. Like it's not huge necessarily in lines of code, but just like in complexity. It's like it's React and it's Redux and it's like there's lots of like it's all very like it's separated into different packages with like Alerta and Yarn workspaces, and so all this. And so I spent a lot of time just kind of helping them kind of understand those concepts. But it's like they ask a question about like how does this part of the code work, and you're like, okay, well let's backtrack a bit because you got to make sure you understand like how does React work here and how does Redux work, and this is just a kind of a convention that most people do. So here's some documentation, but it's hard. Like I enjoy it, but it is hard. Especially I find the hardest part of teaching is like how to like lay things out, especially when you're on a call with someone, because like you kind of have to on the fly like figure out what their question is and like answer it. So yeah, but that's kind of what I've been doing. So yeah, no, to answer your question, the people that we've been hiring don't always have a lot of experience with like React and stuff, but it's actually really cool to see them as well, just like jump in and figure it out. So that's been really, really neat.
So have you been doing a lot of direct teaching, or are you like just saying like here's a tutorial or here's an assignment, come do it and then come back when you're done? Like how do you do that?
Yeah, it's usually like, well, the way we do our work is we break up our work into like 6-week cycles, and so we'll have like a number of things that we're trying to work on for this cycle. And so one of these developers might take that task and kind of start on it and do their best to like scope it out and figure out what needs to be built. And they might do that with like a more senior developer, so they can kind of like get a sense of like what needs to be done. But usually there comes a point where they start to build by themselves and they hit a wall, like something's not working, or they're not sure something works. So usually if they ask me personally, I'll jump on a call with them, or maybe they'll put a message in our Slack, right, to ask about it. But it's usually like, what I usually like to do is just like show, like if they say, how does this work? I'll just try and show, like I'll share my screen and kind of point out, well, this is in the code where this happens, and this does this and that. Well, there was a case where I was talking to someone about Redux and how that worked, and some of her questions were like, well, some of her questions kind of made me feel like, maybe the concepts are things she could like benefit from, like just seeing like a higher level overview, like more than I could really reasonably give in a call. So I shared like it was like actually, I think it's Dan Abramov. Yeah, he does like a video series on Redux, and it's
Oh,
free.
Dan Abramov's Redux course is
Yeah,
very clear. He builds it up from scratch.
yeah, exactly.
And you, like, it wasn't until I watched that I actually felt that I actually understood how it worked. Because before that, I was just like, the what is it, the quick start guide on their website? I don't know if they've changed it in the last few years, but their quick start guide, stank. Like, I'm reading it and they're like, oh, and by the way, you need a store. Like, well, what are we talking about? Like, it made no sense. And they're like, and just stick this line of code in, and now this part works, and then the whole thing works, and you're like, what? Like, it was not cool at all.
Oh
um
yeah, that is such a good point. Yeah,
Egghead or something like
yeah,
that.
I think it is. Yeah, I'm trying to find it now. Egghead.io. Um, let's see, Redux. Like, I'm 90% sure it's like, yeah. If I find it, I'll share. Redux. It's super good. You're right, and I do like that. It's probably like one of the best like video tutorials and I haven't watched a ton, but like, yeah, I think it's called Getting Started with Redux. I think I can share my screen here, but all my code here. But yeah, if you look at, oops. Yeah, it's this course right here on egghead.io. So yeah, Getting Started with Redux. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's all free, but it's true. Like, he starts off just from like the total beginning, covers like how, and yeah, like you said, I think he actually he basically builds Redux in front of you, which is nice because it's a simple enough library that you could do that. Okay, you need to like sign in for this, but it still is free.
And he emphasizes the importance of, well, he talks about, he does tests even in like the very, very simple ones, because later when you build more complex ones, you're going to need tests, right? So he makes sure that he always includes a test, and he focuses a lot on immutability, right? He's like, well, we could just modify the object directly, but that would break our desire for immutability. So I'm going to use the new spread operator, blah, 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 and sticks it all in.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I should watch it again. It's so good. I had the same situation as you though, where like I had started to use Redux at my job and I didn't really get it. I was like, I got it, but I didn't really get it. And I was like, I wish this was easier to understand. And I think looking at the docs, just like there was lots of these complex examples that didn't really help me understand what was really going on. And then when I saw some of this, and I don't think I even watched the whole course, but like after watching like the first like, half dozen videos, I was like, okay, like I get how this works now. So yeah. But I like how you asked that question earlier though. Like I think that in terms of like teaching and training the team, I think like obviously like one-on-one is really great, but I've been trying to think of ways that I can like help the team across like more people at once. And so I've actually done a few. I've recorded some videos. Like there's videos that I've made where
Oh dang! I was gonna ask you if you did that.
Yeah, like it kind of like this. So I'll like record myself, and I'll like walk through. I've only made like 2 so far, and they haven't been like super technical. I'd like to do more technical ones, like especially after having this call that I talked about with one of these new hires. Like I think there'd be a lot of value in like reviewing some of the stuff, because I think there's still people even on our team that are new that they just kind of know it works, but they don't really know how. And I think that knowing how is pretty empowering when things do go wrong and you're like trying to debug it. Then you're a lot more capable to do that. So yeah, I'm trying to have more influence like that way by sharing knowledge and writing documentation. But documentation is hard though. I feel like people don't always read the documentation. It's and which is, I mean, it's understandable. You get a new job. I wouldn't expect someone to read like every repository's README file in the first first few days. So it doesn't always feel as valuable to just like hide it in the docs somewhere, because you'll probably get asked it anyway. So I sometimes feel like tooling and like more visible things are more important to work on, because that way it's just in your face. But yeah,
but Scott Hanselman, right?
His name really rings a bell, but I couldn't tell
He's
you
a
what he
developer
does.
at Microsoft, but he does a
Okay.
lot of public speaking. He said like uh, there are a limited number of keystrokes left in your fingers that, and once you spent all of them, then you die, right? Like, or like you have a limited number of keystrokes left in you before you die, right?
Yeah.
And so he said, if you can help many people with a certain answer to somebody's question, then you should put it in a blog post instead of a private email, right?
Right.
That way, if someone else inevitably asks the same kind of question or same question in the future, you can just refer them to that blog post instead of taking another 5 10 minutes 30 minutes rethinking, redeveloping, retyping the answer and sending
Yeah.
them a private email. So especially in your case where your company expects you to deliver on certain things, then you know and like you said, a lot of people are coming in that don't know these technologies. It might be a good idea to, I don't know, record something, make something, or maybe since React and Redux are both very popular these days, you could probably buy something on behalf of your company. Um, have you heard of Wes Boss? I think he has some tutorials on React
Yeah.
and Redux.
Yeah. Wes is awesome. I feel like I'm subscribed to his email newsletter, so I always get like his update. I think he just put out
Does
a
does he
course
have
on
one?
it.
That's cool. I think I should check that out too. But yeah, same thing. Like he has, and as far as I know, his tutorials are free on YouTube,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he has got like a 20 part, and each part is like 5 minutes or 10 part series on React and a 10 part series on Redux,
Yeah.
and they're very well done, very clear, well edited. Uh, as far as I remember. And I remember watching some of those, and those were good too. So you said
Yeah.
he has a newsletter
Yeah.
or an email. Okay.
He does, yeah, and it's awesome. I mean, he's got great material. Like, I mean, mostly what I've seen in his newsletter lately is him talking about this most recent course he did, which is like it's like full stack advanced React and GraphQL. So it's like exactly what's super hot right now. So
Have you done GraphQL?
it's yeah, kind of. So I have. So what I've been working on lately is my blog, and I'm trying to get it ready to release. And
Are
I'm
you
just
are
using
you going back to your blog, like you're resuming work on your blog?
Yeah.
That's
I'm
great.
all over the place, but here's where I'm at, and I'll show you why it has GraphQL involved. Maybe you can guess already if you know. But yeah, so I'm working on my blog right now, and it's built with Gatsby. So Gatsby is a pretty cool framework. That
It's a static flat file editor.
yeah, it is. Yeah, no, you got it. Yeah, it's like a static site
Server
generator.
side rendering, right?
Yeah, well, it can do that, but it's like mostly like, well, yeah, basically what it does is like you can build your whole site with like React components. So like um, which means like you can have like your templates and all your stuff, and you can use any of the cool like React things that you would like to use normally. So like here's my layout file. I don't know if you can see my screen or not, but yeah. So like my layout file has like whatever, it's just like regular React stuff, but it really it uses GraphQL a lot. So like this is a layout, and like there's a part of the layout where I want to like render like my site title, which comes from like a config file. So the way that Gatsby works is it like everything can be like queried, and you don't have to use GraphQL, but it kind of makes it really easy to do that. So it's kind of like the way to do things.
It's like
But
Angular and TypeScript, right? It's like you
yeah,
don't have to use
exactly.
them together, but it's a good idea if you did.
Yeah. So if I like run like the develop command, so there's like starters you can start with. I started with like the Hello World starter and then turned it into a blog. There is like a blog starter, but I kind of wanted to like see how to do that from the beginning, because it's like it was kind of cool to see how you could take, because again, Gatsby's just built to be like make it whatever you want. Like it could be like a CMS type system.
Right.
Gotta use a different version of Node here. Hold on a second. But yeah, when you boot up the server, like it boots up its whole like React, like Webpack dev server and stuff, and it does like the hot reloading, which is great. But it also boots up this GraphQL server, and there's like an interface to it that you can access that lets you like just like test out queries and stuff. So I'll show you what that looks like in a second. It's booting up. There we go. Yeah, so you go like, so localhost, like this is the actual blog. Or I mean, for me, it's more than just a blog. It's going to be like a website too. But yeah, so it's my website right now. Obviously, it's pretty plain. But then I can click on like articles, and this is a very like not filled up. And
so this part would be your blog.
Yeah, and this is an article not my own that I stole from someone else. I just wanted some like sample markdown. So full disclaimer, not my content. I just wanted some markdown content that I could.
Is there no lorem ipsum for markdown?
Yeah, I just wanted something that looked more real than that, you know. And so this
Right.
person actually, I think he's actually a contributor to the Gatsby source.
That's cool.
So,
that's cool.
and it's a good article too. But
So
yeah,
what are you going to put on the homepage? I saw a few links.
Yeah, I'm not sure
where you can find. Yeah,
that's basically it. I struggle a lot with my website because I feel like I don't know what to put there. I want it to be pretty simple. I feel like right now it looks very like vanilla, kind of like every other site. So I want to find a way to like spice it up. My friend Justin Jackson just redid his page. Let's see if it's I think it's justinjackson.ca. Yeah. He had a designer do this for him, a friend of his, but I really like what he's done with it. Super cool looking.
The typewriter look.
Yeah, totally. He's got that kind of retro, kind of brutal design, which is like a type of design that kind of is a throwback to the like when we had like when we couldn't do as much. I mean, it's still modern, but it's like, you know.
Yeah, it's very popular these days.
Yeah, so I like what he's done there. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to go that route, but I kind of want to take this, which is a very like stock vanilla kind of look, and see if I can spice it up a little more. But my problem with design is I get too far off, like every little thing, and it's like been 3 hours and I haven't gotten any. I've just like tweaked a few font sizes, you know. So
I do that all the time. But you know what? Like, you know, people say the details matter, right? So
yeah. That's true. And
take the time and do that 20%. That'll get you 80% of the value.
Exactly. And I'm just trying to like shift from doing that. Like I actually want to get it out. Like I can iterate it when it's deployed, but like if I don't ever deploy it, then I'm not gonna, not gonna do that. But yeah, so this whole like GraphQL, I would say like I don't really know if I get it yet per se, but this is an example query that that you can do. So if I just were to say like node, let's go for it as like one of the fields. And then if you do that query, you can see like it returns like the same data. In the same format you ask for it is the same like structure you get back. Mm-hmm. So like I get these like, I only asked for the field slug, but I think there's also like front matter. And then it's like, probably, yeah, so I can get like the date. And basically like what this is like, this is like a query for like all of the markdown remark files. So like basically in the concept in Gatsby is like you tell it what the source of your nodes are going to be. And the source could be anything. It could be like a folder of markdown files. It could be a folder of images. It could be a folder of XML files. Then you just tell Gatsby like how to transform that source into something that it can read. And then it makes that queryable in its like GraphQL engine. So there's like a Gatsby config file that does all this. So like basically in this config file, there's a couple other config things to do with other stuff, but the key ones are like right here. You basically say like, okay, the source, the file system, it's the post directory, call it posts. And then I want to transform that with this like transformer remark. So that's like a transformer that understands like markdown and like converts them into like basically like a format that Gatsby can put into GraphQL or make queryable there. So yeah, this is like the most common. These two, when put together, basically make a blog. Or it could be anything. I mean, it could be just like a regular content site. That's how you would like pull files. Like I've got this post folder with markdown files in it. But it also does this thing where like anything, this is out of the box. any page, any file inside of page that exports a React component just becomes like its own like accessible page at that URL, right? So if I were to create like a new file, call it like test.js, and then just like, you know, do something like this. Ooh, that's really big. Oops, sorry. Just return like a really simple component, right? Something like this. This should, this is test. Oh, it's complaining that, oh, I probably have to import React. By the way, let me know if this is boring. I'm just like, oh, it's Gatsby. It's what I've been doing lately, so it's kind of fun. Okay, cool. So compiled successfully. So now if I were to go back to my blog here and then just try and browse to test, you can see it just renders out my text. So that's as simple as it is, right? And if I want my whole layout, then I would just have to like, it's just React, right? So I would just import my layout component and wrap it around this and it would render. But that's the, yeah, that's kind of the gist of Gatsby. I like it because it is cool and its flexibility there, right? So you can, if you want just like a simple static site, and then what's cool is that it's not, the end result isn't just like a fancy complex React app. It just like, it bundles it all out and pushes it into like a static site. I don't think it's like 100% static. Like I think it actually still is React rendering all these things on the page, but it produces like all the artifacts of a static site. So you could just like upload it to any static site host, whether it's like S3 or there's a bunch of hosts that exist just to like serve stuff like this. And so like, for example, if I like browse to like /test, even on a static server, that's going to point to like the right file that will load the React and all the components and stuff. And it has like caching and service workers involved, I think, that help it like load quicker and stuff. So
optimizes it. Yeah, like for if you wanted to put it on GitHub pages or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've seen that done a lot. People just like create that, which I've never done before, but yeah, you create like a GH pages branch or something, right? And then you just like put your stuff there, and yeah, you could do exactly that, and then it would just all run. So that'll make deployment nice and simple. Just like, you know, copy the files over rsync or something like that to the server, right? And then you're good. I mean, I guess part of me is like, oh, maybe I should have like a fancy deploy pipeline, you know, where like I merge, because like, you know, when I want to set up like a hook or something where like if I push to GitHub master, it would like, you know, then it would run the build. And so maybe I'll get that fancy at some point. But
does GitHub have that option?
Yes, sort of. I think if with GitHub, you can set up triggers where if something's pushed to master, like GitHub will call a webhook. And so you can set it up where like some webhook somewhere could like trigger it. You'd have to use like a third-party service because I don't think GitHub does the actual deploying. But if you had like
I do know that GitLab has a built-in CI pipeline, and I mean, I think it's free. I mean, it was like a year ago, and they recently changed their pricing tiers, so they may have changed that. But but yeah, there's a free thing where you can you include what's it called? I think it's like a file called gitlab-ci.yaml or something. Yeah. And you place the instructions, and so once you push to a certain branch, then it'll execute the instructions in a Docker container right on their servers for you. So you can build your own thing and push it up to the GitLab pages, or the GitLab version of GitHub pages. Directly. It's pretty cool.
GitHub's like GitLab is like this like underrated like version. You know what I mean? Like GitHub gets all the credit for being like, I mean, I just looked it up and it looks like the CI part might be like a pro feature, like a paid feature, but
yeah, they still like pricing recently, and I don't remember if that was included in the change or not.
But you can self-host, or do you still have to pay for that? It looks like maybe you still have to pay for that. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Self-host with GitLab. Well, that's the main point of GitLab. The hosting on their site is kind of like a side gig of theirs, but what their main product, as far as I know, I don't know as far as revenue goes, but as far as the technology goes, their main product is the self-hosted GitLab. So they're really going for enterprise stuff, mainly. You can run it on your own computer, although for personal use, I prefer GOGS because it's much smaller. There aren't as many features, unfortunately, but it can run in a single process, and it's written in Go, and it can run on a Raspberry Pi. Terrible name, but it's pretty cool.
It's called GOGS?
Yeah, GOGS.
Nice. This is cool. So do you personally have like your own local
I do.
server?
In fact, it's on my it's fornax.brwong.net. Okay, if you go to www.brwong.net, on the top there's so this is my interpretation of what should be on the front page is I put my CV. I'm not sure I'm going to keep doing that. Maybe, you know what? Maybe a simpler thing is better, where it's just here's me, here's where you can find me on the internet, here's a link to my blog. You know, some people in fact recommend that you put your blog as the front page instead of next to the front page. But yeah, if you go to, do you see the link that says code?
Yeah, I found it now. I'm looking at your GOGS now. That sounds weird. I'm GOGSing.
Yeah, I don't like the name. This whole thing was developed by a guy in China, and for a long time he was completely by himself, and he built like most of the features alone before it got a little bit of notoriety and people started contributing.
Nice, yeah.
Also, the only projects I have that are public aren't very. They're pretty old, and so I need to.
It's got that's awesome. It's obviously very like it's basically a GitHub clone. Like it's very heavily inspired from GitHub because it looks just like GitHub, but it's not.
Oh, it is. It totally is. There, like I said, there are a few features that are missing. Maybe I can. Can I share my screen?
I should use something like this, though. You know, I mean, because I could like put, and I'm assuming you can make private repositories as well, but like so they're not visible, but they're
so most of mine are private. Can you see my screen? You just see yourself right in, right?
Yeah.
Give me a second. I'm going to.
The screen is very large because it's like 3 different screens or something.
Okay, what do you see?
I'm just hold on. I'm not sure. I'm just like messing with the video now. I'm not sure for the way I can like. Oh yeah, here. I'm gonna try to present your screen to everyone. There you go. Yeah. Okay, I can see your dashboard here.
Yeah. Okay. I hope there's nothing private here that I don't want recorded. But yeah. So as you can see, most of these, all the ones in yellow, are private, and this one in white is public. Out of the 44, I only have like 10 that are public, and those ones are just throwaway demonstration ones. So actually, as an example, on my front page, this cellular automata in the background, the black and orange, that's code that I wrote.
Nice.
Which one is it? I believe this one's Elm.
Yeah, I saw something that was public that had that. It was like cellular automata or something like that.
Well, I have like 4 different projects that are in that because I did it in different languages. So one is in JavaScript, and one's in Elm, and one's in ClojureScript, and yeah. So that's I think this is it right here.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyways, so this is GOGS. There's the usual features. So it's the dashboard. They has an issue board. There's pull requests. So you can do this collaboratively, which is, I mean, if you're not doing it collaboratively, what's the point of a Git system like this? But
yeah. Well, other than like just a convenient way to back it up. Right, like offsite.
And that is what I'm using it for. I mean,
yeah.
And if I'm ever going for a job and someone wants to see samples of my code, I can say, well, I got this. I'm a big believer in self-hosted software.
Yeah, yeah. Have you heard of sorry, just tangent. There's like
no, it's perfect. Go ahead.
there's something called Fathom that Paul Jarvis, who's like an author that I follow, author, writer, entrepreneur kind of guy, and he just created or co-created this thing called Fathom, which is like a self-hosted like tracking, like Google Analytics basically. Now, probably not as like full featured, but like you can host it. The data is yours. You're not like sending Google all this like information about your visitors, and you can just like keep it.
Can we switch to your screen? So
yeah, I'll show.
Were you showing it or?
I will show it because it's super cool, and I've put it down as like a note. It's called Fathom. Yeah, it's probably like usefathom.com or something like that, or just like.
I still only see me on this on the screencast.
Oh, yeah. I think that's because I said present, so I'm going to stop presenting you.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah, sorry about that. So if I go, so if I look up use Fathom, here we go. Yeah, github.com use Fathom. I haven't used it yet, but
you're not obeying the name of the project.
Yeah, exactly. It reached number 2 on Product Hunt and number 2 on Hacker News. But I like the idea because it does look very like simple, and I've never liked the fact that Google Analytics is just so much, like it's so much data, you know, it's just overwhelming, and like I just want to know how many views I'm getting, you know, and generally from where, you know.
Okay, I'm very interested.
Yeah, so there's like a Docker image, right? Like it's awesome. Like I mean, if you read this guy's newsletters, so if you look up Paul Jarvis, I mean I don't know where to find it, but. He's awesome. I love his writing. He's a very like no nonsense kind of writer. He's a designer too. He also just wrote a book called Company of One, which is all about like building a company as one person and like not
incorporating.
Yeah, but also like not striving to just like grow and become this massive like multi-billion-dollar company, but how you can just like build a company pretty sustainably and like enjoy it as one person. That's my like having read it like impression of what I've read about it, but. So,
you know, to be honest, that lifestyle or that prospect appeals to me. Like,
totally,
I could see myself doing that. Like, maybe in another life, maybe in this life, I don't know. But
yeah.
I could definitely see myself potentially enjoying that. I mean, I haven't done it, so maybe I think it sucks, but.
I want to try that too. Like, I like that idea of like having.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm kind of trying to be on that path now. I mean, I'll see how far I get, but like, yeah. So it just looks really cool. Again, it's like installing. It's like git clone, set up the thing.
Hang on, did you say you're on that path now?
Well, yeah. My goal right now, I mean, my path right now is to try and like trying to build some kind of company at some point, but it's very like vague and undefined. So it's like,
are you self-incorporated?
I'm not like officially self-incorporated. I think like for tax purposes, I do like put myself as like a company that is contracted.
Oh, you mean self-employed?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not like an incorporation. I'm not like a business entity.
Right.
But no, I when I say that, I'm speaking that more like in just practical terms, not so much in like legal or like
right
like part of it. But yeah.
Oh, is that what this article means? Is like the philosophy of you are your own boss, even if someone else writes your paychecks. You are the CEO of your own personal company, or did he also mean the legal side of it?
I don't know. I mean, like having read his newsletters and stuff that I get, I think it's a lot about a way of life. I mean, it is about a business, right? It's about running a business, a company of one. Like it's about running a business as one person, as a solo founder and a solo creator, of your company. Because he's always done that. Like he has several companies and stuff that he started and worked with. Sometimes with other people, like he's not always been alone, but like it's the idea that like he isn't trying to build like this like mega corporation, right? And I think like if you get his emails, he's never like overly salesy. He doesn't like pitch you really hard. He's not trying to like squeeze, you know what I mean? Like there's a sense from his emails that he's just kind of like a person that loves what he does, just wants to find the people that care about his work and want to support him, and that's how he's going to be happy. And and enough people that can support his lifestyle, I guess, right? So so that's what this book Company of One is supposed to be about. And again, I'm hopefully not butchering it. If anyone watches this that knows more than me, maybe they can correct me. But yeah, I think that That's kind
Yeah,
of expensive.
yeah. So I definitely can, uh, I definitely resonate with that philosophy. The whole, be your own business and stuff like that. And I think that is a great path to success. The other alternative is kind of at the opposite end of the scale. I could also see myself being, you know, like engineer number one or engineer number two of a giant of a company that ends up being ginormous. But so so they're wildly different ends of a spectrum here. But so either be your own company that you really just love, and it makes a lot of money, or be in the top 10 of a giant company that becomes giant while you're there, and just kind of ride the wave on the way up. But
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
well,
Exactly.
yeah, one of them will work out. I'm
Yeah.
kind of like dropping these little seeds everywhere. Hopefully,
Totally.
something comes up.
Yeah, well, this is cool though. Thanks for showing me Gogs. Would you so have you tried GitLab like on your own as well, and you prefer this for?
I did. GitLab is amazing. I recommend it to pretty much anyone who would ever ask. The only problem is that it's very resource intensive.
Hmm.
And at the time, and including now, all I had was a Raspberry Pi to run it off of.
Yeah.
And GitLab works on a Raspberry Pi, but barely. Basically, you can run GitLab, but nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything else will not run, or you'll just have, yeah, it's going to hog all the
Yeah.
resources.
So what I would recommend is, if you're doing pure open source, use GitHub. If you're a small to medium and even large company, use GitLab.
Mm-hmm.
That way you can have unlimited private repositories. You can have some public ones if you want to open source things, or you can put it on GitHub, whatever. And then for individual use, use Gogs.
Yeah.
And the only reason I say that over GitHub is because I love GitHub, but I just don't like the idea. It's just I don't like, it doesn't sit well with me, the idea of one company owning the entire pie, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
A lot of pie.
I don't like when GitHub has all the open source projects. I know it's good for collaboration, but I think even that can be changed. I think we can have one day we can have a system where everyone owns their own repository, um, and there's some sort of federated search algorithm. I mean, that's the only benefit of GitHub, is that there's a unified identity system and there's a unified search system,
Mm-hmm.
and you can that's what facilitates the whole pull requests between them.
Yeah.
But if I could type in a search bar somewhere the name of a project, and it'll search my repositories and your repositories and everyone else's who has made their repositories public, well, then I don't need GitHub, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of a dream. It's a pipe dream, but that's my dream. That's my vision. In fact, that's the blog post that I'm working on, and it's gonna take a really long time. But actually, maybe later on I can bounce some ideas off of you. But my idea is that everyone, owns their own data on their own computer, that they store in a cabinet somewhere, or in a bookshelf somewhere in their house, and and that all the data is linked to each other,
like a big mesh network of people's
exactly. But yeah, so maybe we can talk about that later. But so for personal use, I use Gogs for all my private repositories. If I want a public repository that is purely for a show, for like, here's my resume kind of thing, then I also use Gogs. If I want to collaborate with others or want to contribute to an open source project, I use GitHub. So there you go. Those are that's what I do.
No, that's good to know. I may give Gogs a try. I have a Raspberry Pi, but it's already kind of constrained because I'm running like at least 1 or 2 Python processes on it, and then also like a Node process. I got Node to like run on there, but Node is okay, but on a device like that, it's not a new Raspberry Pi. It's the one you actually gave me for my wedding, so it's
oh right, okay.
Yeah, which is like the best wedding gift anyone could ever get. I loved it, and so I still have it
for you. Poor Naomi. For my... like, where was my gift?
yeah. She's benefited secondhand from it, I'm sure. But well, it's currently kind of an integral part of my smart home setup. I think I've talked to you about this before.
I think you showed me little pieces of it.
Yeah, so
you also told me I got hacked the next day, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I almost forgot that happened. Yeah, that turns out when you open up your router wide to the internet and open up all those ports, that people are port scanning all the time, and so
yeah, it's terrible. I think I told you this, but I was running my Raspberry Pi, whatever, is long term. And then I logged into it and I looked around and I saw this random folder that I'd never put there before. What the heck is this? And I checked the process list. Sure enough, it's this program. I'm guessing it's some sort of spam bot or spider or web crawler or whatever.
Yeah.
Probably harmless. I'm hoping it's harmless, but needless to say, I quarantined that executable and I wiped my system.
Yeah.
And actually, you know what? I'm due for another wipe,
Just like a refresh, yeah.
Exactly. Like I should be doing this on a regular basis and I'm not. And I don't know, because I don't like antivirus software.
And likewise, yeah.
It's either not effective or it takes up all the memory or it puts too many restrictions on you and blah blah blah. And so what I do is I just run what I want to run. I just be extra careful, and every so often I just wipe everything and it's okay. That said, I've written a script that automatically installs every program that I want to run or to have.
Oh, nice.
And I wrote a blog post about that too. So that's what I've been doing during my parental leave. Is I've been working on my blog, revitalizing it. Like you, I just kind of let it die, and I'm like, well, I could either kill it or I could start it up again. But I like what you said last time about doing lots of little things and just pumping things out there. Definitely, that is the way to go. Just publish lots of little things, and something will stick. And even out of the ones that don't stick, I mean, you're still putting more of yourself out there. People will get to know who you are, what you're all about, what your abilities are, and so.
Yep. Exactly.
It's always a good thing. So that's why podcasts, I love that idea. Thank you for suggesting it. Working on my blog. And you know what? Maybe in the future, as part of our podcast, we can do like a pair programming of like little projects. I don't know. Like,
we should.
Either if you find something new like Gatsby and we can try it out, or the two of us just make a to-do list application just because, and publish that, whatever.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'd love to do that. It'd be cool. I mean, like this today episode has been fun because we had like no agenda, no plan, just kind of chat. So, and it's almost like a tech test because we're just seeing how this works and streaming this. So this is kind of fun. But I think maybe in the future we can make it a little bit more formal, just to kind of
a little
not crazy. I
don't want to ruin a good thing, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I just tweeted out our link to our thing too. I don't have enough followers for that really to have much of a difference, but
do we still have that one person listening in?
Yeah, they've been in and out. Maybe it's different people coming in and out. So hello to anyone watching. I want to say leave a comment, but I'm not sure where the comments would go. I guess if you're watching on YouTube, you could write comments there.
It's true. There's a live. There should be a live comment stream on the side.
Oh yeah. Okay, no, I'm just seeing it now. My brother. I think it's my brother. Yeah.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, it's William. He's on the video. I left the video open. So, yeah. That's great. We got family here. That's great. He says he's always here for me. Thanks, William. Appreciate that. So I feel so well. I feel so supported.
I was actually going to mention William last time. We bumped into him on the metro like a few months back.
Oh, no way.
By the way, William, you got to meet my son. Anyways, and his middle name is William. So
there you go. It's perfect.
Yeah, so we bumped into him, and he was talking about all the different projects he was working on and things he's doing to improve his life. And Jasmine and I were both like, wait, is that the same William that we knew from a year ago or several months back? It's like, dang, he's a new man. He's improved himself. Like,
I know.
We're very proud of him.
I wish he lived closer to me. I want to hang out with him more. It's like William's awesome. He's posting this. His art is really awesome. We should like show some of his art on the podcast. And don't worry, William. We only have like one fan, and it's you right now, so we don't have to worry about if you're anxious about anyone seeing it. But
seriously, William, you should publish your stuff. I don't know if you are or not.
I think he has.
I remember you used to have a Twitch, but again, like we just said, publish lots of little things, right?
Totally.
Actually, speaking of lots of little things, I was thinking Gatsby might be useful for Code Companion. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? So for the unaware, Code Companion is Hamish's, and me and Brandon have talked about this for a long time. This is like my side project dream that one day I'll get to building, but it's like an app to teach coding. So,
but it's enormous. It's a huge project.
It's a big project, and it's always come back down. I keep thinking that every time I see something cool, I'm like, how could this fit into it? Yeah, absolutely. There's some really cool potential there. I actually found something else that I thought could be really helpful for this. William's like, he says he's gotten back into bad habits. It's okay, William. I have to. I'm not productive all the time. I'm trying to get better.
Who isn't? Like, everyone's got their thing.
But there's this thing called MDX. You heard of MDX? This is like, I can't remember if I told you about this last time or not. This I felt like was really interesting. So I'll share my screen. Basically, it's React meets Markdown, or JSX meets Markdown. So
MBX, JSX.
Yeah, MBX. Yeah.
What's the B for?
Or it's D. Sorry, I'm probably just mumbling it. But
yes. Markdown. Okay, MDX.
Yeah, mdxjs.com. So essentially, it's just like a parser, I think, that like, or it's like a renderer thing. So you can like feed it a Markdown file, but it's actually an MDX file, and it outputs like an app. Like it'll output like it'll like read the JSX, but it'll also like parse out the Markdown.
So whenever it sees Markdown, it interprets Markdown. Whenever it sees HTML tags, it interprets JSX.
Exactly, and you can write like import statements and stuff, right? So it's basically like they just wrote like a parser that blends. Right?
Okay. Oh, dang.
Right. So this is kind of what we were trying to do with like when we had Brandon and I kind of tried to riff on this idea of an app that could teach coding, and it would have like users could create lessons, or people could create lessons that were like just all in code, and the code could like explain the constraints of like what the user needs to do to complete the lesson. This doesn't have so much of that component per se, but the component it does have is just like this language that could be really useful as like a way to describe lessons, because you can do it. Markdown is so great for like content and describing content without having to be like P tag, B tag, all this tag. But then when you do need like more rich functionality, now you've got this ability to like include components. So you could like wrap components and like describe like a lesson or something like that. And I was kind of trying to do this, so someone just kind of did it better than I was trying to do before, and like made it like isolated, and they didn't have to think about this massive project that kept overwhelming me. So it's like,
yeah, I think we too often tried to reinvent the wheel. I don't know. You know what? Speaking of the big huge project, I'm not sure about. I think for Code Companion, we'd have to like break it up into smaller chunks, and I don't know, something like that. But yeah, so this MDX reminds me of I think it's called literary CoffeeScript or literary programming, where the documentation for the code is mixed in with the actual code.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've seen this before.
And it's basically half Markdown, half code. Could be any programming language, but it only works in the ones that you compile for. So literary CoffeeScript was popular for a very short time. Not that CoffeeScript is popular itself anymore, but but it was very cool. So like basically you have it's a Markdown file, but whenever you indent and you write CoffeeScript code, that's the actual code.
Right.
And so the Markdown says, first we have this section here that imports the library, and then tab import library, and then it's like, and then what it does is it renders this on screen, indent. But the code that's being shown is not just a copy paste. It is the actual code, and then at the end you run the actual file, and it runs as CoffeeScript. So it's pretty cool. And the idea is to promote documentation or prevent documentation from going stale and stuff like that.
That's so cool. Yeah,
I think it's a great idea. It never really caught on, so weigh that according to I know this is not the same thing, but this is also very cool. Because a lot of have you tried it with maybe did you include it in your blog?
I thought about that because it has a Gatsby plugin, so Gatsby is also very pluggable.
So rather than using the plugin, maybe I mean it ends up being the same, right?
Yeah, but basically, because right now with Gatsby, you're either writing fully Markdown files, which Gatsby will process, and then you can like render out them into a template if you want, or you're writing fully React files. But this way, if you add this to Gatsby, you could basically write your posts as like Markdowns, but then if you need to have like a fancier component, you could do that. I don't know if I need it yet, but I kind of want to try it. But so this is cool. Maybe an avenue to look at. I had this whole thing earlier in the week where I was like, because I just get like spurts of like, this could work for Code Companion. I'm gonna sit down and hack on this for like an hour and see what happens. So, really? So I got really this happens a lot. Actually, it happens way more in my head than it does to actually putting my fingers to the keyboard. But I got as far as like, I decided whether this will stick or not. I'm like, I needed to build like the barest, most simple version of Code Companion possible, which I kind of already decided before, but even then that still feels big. So I was like, how can I do that? And I was like, what if I built it as an app that was mostly, if not entirely, in the command line, right? Like, what if I did that? Like, so I'll show you what I.
You saw my version of that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I was reminded exactly of what you had built with that like API and stuff. And I was like, this could totally be done in there. But there was like these visual things I wanted to show. And that's why I thought, I need like a more visual thing. Hold on, this isn't the right screen, but I think it was my desktop. Let's see.
Just for clarification, this is a terminal over on top of your browser, right? It's not.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not in the browser. Yeah. Okay. There's something called Blessed, which is like a node library on top of curses, and curses is like what like Vim and like those types of apps are built in, right? Like so these like more rich apps that you can run on the terminal.
Right,
yeah. So that's curses, or end curses is another version of curses. But like someone built Blessed, which I don't think it actually used curses under the hood, but it's like the same kind of thing. So I was like, okay, if I use one like this, I could build kind of an app. Get ready to not be excited because it's not like I got very far here, but like basically like this app is like I can actually click on these with my mouse too, which is kind of cool. So the idea I had was like building this app where I choose a lesson, and then it would boot into the lesson and change wipe the screen, draw out like whatever the instructions were for your lesson, like whatever the first step is, start the process of listening. Now where it starts to get like where I would like it to be more integrated is like I'd like it if I like, let's say I'm doing a lesson and I close my terminal and I go back to like my editor and I'm like trying to write code because I'm supposed to do that. Also, it would know the folder you're in, so like it would just that would be like the current working directory or something like that. So that could make it easy to like you know, you don't have to have like a UI for choosing the folder because it just like it's whatever folder you run the app in. That's the folder you're going to work on or something.
Right.
Maybe, you know, if that's. But like I was thinking, oh, okay, like I want there to be like a persistent like UI on the screen now. That's like, hey, you're on step 1. Is what you need to do right now. You can't really do it with the CLI app. So I thought it'd be kind of cool if like there was like, so yeah, maybe this sort of Electron comes in like just like a small minimal app that just exists to be like an assistant that like pops up with like messages and like, you know, can let you know what step you're on. But most of the logic is contained in the CLI app, right? So there's like this assistant app that might just be like a little. Again, it goes back to like, remember Clippy from Microsoft Word, right? It's kind of there to like say, hey, you're trying to do this, like
exactly, yeah.
Reminding you of those things, but the core of the less materials here. And just because like if I'm here and I complete what I'm supposed to do and I save the file, if I don't remember like to go back to the terminal, I mean, you know, maybe there's some sort of like visual prompt or like, hey, you've completed this step, go back to see the next one. So I don't know, even that assistant side could be left out probably like in a V1 and just like you had done with your sort of like you basically did that. I was just thinking, how can I build that test out into like a bigger, like it almost just keep the entire app in here, like, you know. So I don't know. Do you think that could work? I feel like it could be a good way to do it. There's apps that do like Node Learn or something like that. What are they called? I used to keep. I still occasionally update this wiki of like just lots of things online that kind of inspire me, like whether it's like online learning sites or apps.
Oh yeah,
apps for learning.
I was gonna say, don't we have like a whole bunch of resources that like we compiled? So I certainly had it.
There was Node School. So it's this. I really like this Node School thing where you do like npm install learn new node. So you do like this global install of this like binary file, or not binary, but like this node app they've made. And then all you have to do once you've installed that is just run the thing, right? So let this finish. But I think this one is, but the difference here is like it's interactive, right? It's like I think it just like runs. Node's gonna take a while. It just runs as like a. Okay, like
it's just a tutorial that's offline.
Yeah, so if you say like, so okay, I'll go again. So you type this. It is kind of cool and interactive here.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you can pick like, okay, I want to learn like my first async IO, and then it just like dumps out the instructions on the screen. So it's like not as interactive, and it just says go do the thing, and when you're done, run these commands to like check your progress. So the biggest difference is like ours would just automatically do that. There would be no like need to go back and type commands to like watch or check. Right?
But it means that they're already, you know, a third of the way there.
Yeah,
they just need to spruce up their interface and then have it run automatically.
Yeah. And I kind of like how they've got like the styling of things here, and like it just like for like a CLI app, it looks pretty good, you know. So I feel like
yeah, it looks quite nice.
So yeah, I think there's potential for that, and then like if you can get that far, maybe it stays there. I mean, one of my goals for Code Companion was like I want people to learn and do as much as possible as what like a regular programmer would do, and not feel like they have to build inside of like a fake IDE on a website within like a not real dev environment. Because then when they're thrown into a real dev environment with like a real editor, it's more to learn because you're like, well, okay, I've never used this before, now I got to figure out how to use this editor and stuff. But if you just started using the editor from the beginning, you have an advantage. So, yeah.
But that it says it all in the name, right? It's a companion, right? It's someone who's with you, you know, every step of the way to help out, and whenever you make mistakes, it can help you out, right? So,
yeah, exactly.
That's kind of the idea, right?
Yeah. So that was my tangent. So we'll see if it goes.
It's a big project. And it will happen one day, right?
It will. Yeah. Like I said, the blog and that kind of stuff, and even doing things like this are a lot of fun. I'll put this on my blog too. I'll post this up on my blog as an article once it's up. Just like if you actually feel free to post this on yours too. No pressure to if you don't want to as well. You're up. You can be the curator of your own blog, but you know, I'll put this up and just kind of have it online, and you know.
Wait, to post what?
Just this video, I guess, when this is done, this our
I'm
chat.
totally gonna do it.
Yeah.
I've been preparing to do it all this whole time.
Nice.
By the way, you have you're recording separately your audio, right?
I am. Yeah, I've been recording with Audacity this whole time.
Okay,
So
cool.
Yeah, looks like we're about an hour in now. So
in fact, I was gonna well, not show you, but I think I already told you my blog is written on something called Grav, Grav.
okay.
It's a CMS, a flat file CMS. I was looking for something that was very simple, and the other thing is I have the same web hosts that I've had for the last, I don't know, like 13 years or something. And I'm still paying the very small, $5 a month or whatever for the domain name and the hosting and the email and blah blah blah. Anyways, and unfortunately, and I'm too lazy to change it. That's my point.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they don't give you SSH access to it. It's just they give you FTP access, and they have PHP on it, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so I was going to do something with JavaScript. I would have considered something like Gatsby, or I think there's another one called Ghost. I think that's in JavaScript, or
I've heard of Ghost.
Ruby. Anyways, but the point is, I can only do something in PHP. So I'm like, okay, but I didn't want something like WordPress.
Mm-hmm.
I did find one that was like, what was it? There was one that was like so simple. It was an entire blog system, but in one PHP file.
Nice. Minimal, very minimal.
Yeah, it was a little too minimal.
Yeah.
But I did read somewhere that a warning. They're like, if you're a developer, what you should do for your blog and your personal website is go as simple as possible. Yeah. Don't build it yourself. And the reason is because if you build it yourself, then you'll never actually publish it. And so when it comes to your blog, your website, focus on the publishing. And when it comes to your developing, then you can build everything yourself if you want.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I was trying to get something that's kind of like in between those two positions. And I found Grav. It's pretty popular. I'm impressed. And the other thing I like about it is flat file.
Yeah.
It doesn't require some big fat database. I don't need a database. It's not like, I think even WordPress is a little too complicated. Mm-hmm. But I just need something where I can write a file that is my blog post and upload that. And if necessary, like if they have an online editor, great, I'll use that. But if not, I can edit it with my usual editor. That's also good. And I can save it to Git. Excuse me. I can save it to Git, and I can even timestamp the whole thing. But anyways, so Grav seemed to be the thing that met all of my criteria. I mean, the PHP one was the biggest criteria. But so that's what I used, and I brought this up for a reason. The podcast. It does have a podcast plugin, but I couldn't quite get it to work.
Okay.
So, but what I did get to work is I can embed a YouTube video, so that's perfect because this thing is going to go up on YouTube, and I got it so that I can have an audio playback. It's just an HTML5 audio tag, audio element, and I can upload our two audios kind of mixed together and have that play right in the page if they want it, or if they want to download it, they can download it, whatever. So speaking of which, afterwards you got to send me your audio file, and we haven't really how do you synchronize the two?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I guess
I know for audio and video, you just clap or use a clapper board, and whenever the things meet and the audio spikes, that's where you line it up. But I don't know about two separate audio files on two separate computers. what the usual technique is.
I mean, it would probably be a little bit of like just by ear, right? Like even if it's off by like a couple, like 50 milliseconds, it's probably not going to be noticeable. Like, you know,
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Hopefully we don't get it so it's like at the beginning it sounds great, but then like an hour in we're like overlapping our conversation.
Yeah, probably get to sync it up at the beginning, listen to it for like a minute. If it sounds okay, jump to the end and then see if it still sounds good.
Yeah.
But it should be like a fixed, it shouldn't be like, the effect should be a fixed effect, right? In terms of shifting, right? Wouldn't that just be like, or am I not thinking of this correctly?
It is. It should be, yeah. So. Unless you're recording at a different bit rate, but even then, that shouldn't affect timestamps on the audio file.
So we should be okay. This is the part that we'll learn about, right? Figuring that out, and then
and then just chop off the beginning and the end.
Well, yeah, and like we could always just use the audio from this video, but in theory, the audio can be much higher quality from both our mics, right? So that'll be a better...
that's the another thing I'm wondering about. I mean, YouTube, they know their business, so maybe the audio recording is already pretty high def, and maybe that's all we need. So
it'd be worth comparing, because I know it's like recording both their videos and both our audios and smushing all that.
Although that said, I mean, I can hear your voice over the chat, and it's much higher quality than it would have been if it was just your laptop microphone. But at the same time, it does sound like a video chat quality. So I imagine the raw audio file would be better.
Yeah.
So I take back what I said earlier.
Yeah. To someone listening on their car radio, it might not be a big noticeable, but if you're like on your computer listening, it'll probably sound better. So
speaking of which, do you know anything about recording audio on a web page?
Oh, like using APIs to do that? Like
played around with like the WebRTC or the audio input stuff. Okay.
No, I haven't. I played audio for fun before, but never.
You know how I made my own journal app, right?
Yeah. I heard about this, but I've never seen it though. It's probably private because it's a journal. So
yeah, I wanted to show it to you, but I'm not sure if there's anything on it that's probably not shareable. No, we'll save it for another time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no pressure to do it now. We'll find a time we can talk.
But I definitely want to show it to you because it's pretty cool. And in fact, maybe we can dedicate a chat to open sourcing it.
Yeah.
I want to open source it. I want to put it on GitHub, but there's a bunch of things to consider. Like, I don't know what you know about software licenses, but I spent a bunch of time going through that, and I want to pick the right one.
Oh yeah,
and I'm sure there's a lot to be done that needs to be done to make it public worthy. So maybe we can dedicate a chat to that.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, one of the features that I want to add one day to this journal app is an audio notes dictation recorder, basically.
Yeah.
So I mean, the app is mobile friendly. It's responsive in design. Maybe you can help me with the design too, because it's disgusting. I'm not a designer. I'm a logical programmer guy. I do server stuff most of the time, anyways. But the point is, it works on my phone, and so I can definitely think of different times when I would just want to pull out my phone, press record, start recording, and as I speak, it transmits it to my server and records it into a file, and I can either transcribe it later or not, like just leave it as an audio file. And,
yeah, that would be so cool. Yeah,
and I do have experience with the interface, the APIs, the browser APIs for the audio input and stuff like that, but I don't have too much experience in terms of recording. So anyways.
Yeah, I wonder how you could do that. There's so much cool stuff you can do now. I was a website I was on the other day that were like, you can like
I know there's a library called Record RTC. I think it's the most popular one. But
I haven't done enough in this.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. Like for sure, I won't have to
Yeah.
implement it myself, but I want to kind of try it out and see about that. So yeah, so if ever we run out of stuff to talk about, which I mean, after all this time, it probably isn't going to happen. But if ever we run out of stuff to talk about, we can always do pair programming projects. Like spend an evening open sourcing one of my projects, or adding a feature, or trying out a library, just doing normal. Again, lots of little things, right? Just publishing things out there.
I was did you hear about Hacktoberfest at all?
Yes, that's very old, isn't it? It's been around a while.
I think it's been around for a while. I think I only really actually thought about it this year, and I did sign up for it, but
so it's basically almost over.
Yeah, I didn't actually really start thinking about it until 3 days ago, and it's near the end of the month. So I'm not basically if you like submit 5 pull requests to open source repositories, you get like a T-shirt and some swag from, I think it's like DigitalOcean and GitHub. Maybe you're like partnering on it. So just like help encouraging people to get into open source and contributing.
DigitalOcean behind this?
I might be misspeaking.
Yeah, I see their website, Oktoberfest.digitalocean.com.
Yeah, so they're like the primary sponsors, or the primary people who started it.
Oh, then it's not as old as I thought, because number 5 is the 5th year.
Yeah, 5 years. Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to do it, but now it's like the time is so. And I mean, the pull requests for me, it's like, okay, I could probably do like documentation fixes and stuff like that. Like those are probably some easy pull requests to make.
Yeah, one of my coworkers is not a developer, and he came up to me and he's like, I want to claim that I am a developer or a contributor to the Bitcoin project.
Yeah,
how would I do that?
Right.
And well, I mean, other than learning code, so you might be able to do some grammatical fixes to the documentation, and your name will be on the list technically. And he's like, great, I'm gonna do that.
No, honestly though, I got like job offers and like asked to like read like a pre-release version of a book a couple years ago because I contributed like some like Angular JS like documentation. Like,
no way.
Yeah, and like I got like, because you're an expert in the field, like I got these like emails and like
yes,
it was so funny.
I got that too. Wait, I told you I have one public open source pull request. I told you about it, right? And because of that one pull request, and because it was in Python, someone sent me. Shoot, I don't think I'm going to be able to find it, but someone sent me an email saying, oh, because you have this, because we saw this, that you have this, you are an expert in Python, and we'd like to get your thoughts on this, and on this survey or whatever, and we'll pay you or whatever. And I didn't end up responding, but I guess I should have.
That's so funny. Well, it's like, they're probably automated because it's easy to pull like a list of GitHub contributors from a repository, like API automate that, and then just like blast out an email to
for yours. How many contributors were there? Oh, okay. So I guess they're going across many projects. So there would be a lot.
They must be. Yeah. But like, it's funny though. Like speaking of, go ahead, sir.
I was just gonna say, like, maybe instead of simply shotgunning it, well, maybe they could do that, but maybe what they should do in addition, if they don't, is just check, frequency and size and whether it's code or not, and is it just a spelling error? And
that'd be more intensive, but like
exactly. Kind of narrow down to like, okay, these are the actual core contributors. Let's send them a personalized invitation, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Versus
dang,
well, okay, so
you did 2 this month.
check this out though. This is kind of funny. I've contributed to Buffer at Buffer Publish. This is my company's app, but it's a public repository because we build everything transparently in the public. So and this is low because, like I said, I've spent so much of my time helping people. So all the PRs are like mostly my teammates, which is great. But like, so I've gotten two of them. So I actually have a chance at this. I only had one a few days ago, and now I have two because I forgot I made another PR. So now I'm thinking to myself, like, okay,
well, come on, you have like 7 days left. Let's do it.
Yeah. So what should I do? This is like where I get like, okay, what should I do? You go to the homepage, and they're like, if you want to contribute, okay, how? They're like, and there's like, here's some projects you can contribute to. I actually
on suggestions. That's great.
Yeah, and I think it's because like the maintainers can come here and say, hey, we would love people to contribute. But like, I'm definitely not gonna like contribute to like let's see. Well, I don't even know what Power DNS is, so I'm probably not gonna or game server. I'm not. It's okay. C#. Yeah, probably not that. But like
these descriptions are just project descriptions. It's not issue description. Okay.
Well, exactly. Yeah. So you can browse more on GitHub, and I think this is just like anything tagged on GitHub with like basically any issues on GitHub that are tagged with Hacktoberfest. It like pulls up, right?
Oh yeah. Okay. There's another one. It's called Help Wanted.
Yeah. That's true. I wonder if I just look for that one. If
they also have a website. Shoot.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'm glad you brought that up because I was trying to find that the other day. Help Wanted GitHub. Is this it? Oh,
maybe the first one.
This one looks close, but up for grabs. This was.
This is it. This is it. Up for grabs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it lists, and you can filter through the projects, which is pretty cool.
Oh, nice. A simple and free TypeScript-based JavaScript game engine.
Excalibur.
Okay, cool. Oh yeah, this like good first issue. I've seen these before. Good first issue. That's a pretty common label as well.
Yeah. What was a good first issue? I heard of another one called First Timers Only.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
If you've never done a contribution to an open source project, try one of these. It's also very friendly for beginner developers, and I think it's a great idea. There's the
just like browsing random issues now in Microsoft Chakra Core.
Is this something you could do?
Oh, definitely not. Like, well, I'm assuming it's written in like C# or something like that.
If it's from Microsoft, chances. Oh, this is for their browser. It's the engine.
JavaScript, C++.
Okay, it's related to JavaScript, but it's not necessarily written in JavaScript.
Yeah, totally.
That would be nice if it was.
Part of me is like wants to find that like typo that no one saw. There we go. I fixed the typo. But
hey, that helps too, you know, like
it does. And I think like on the scale of like usefulness, like it's not going to change anyone's life, but like
okay, look at that one, offline QR code generator. Come on, that's got it.
Okay,
how difficult could that be?
So this, unless
unless it's in some esoteric programming language.
Yeah, I'm gonna see. Is it Java? It looks like 91% JavaScript, a little bit of shell. Okay,
looking good.
Accessibility of messages. Let's see what this one is here. Problem: when you do not see the icons of messages, you cannot differentiate whether these are errors, info message, or so on. Add ARIA label to message icon box. I don't really know what he's talking about, but it sounds pretty straightforward.
Well, ARIA label, that's the HTML tag for the screen readers and
right.
accessibility. So basically just go in and then add them.
Yeah.
If you go, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, let's go to a different one. So but this project looks interesting. Oh, it's a plugin.
Yeah, this is a Firefox.
Oh, this is cool.
That's really cool. It just like on the fly generates.
It's like a little tool. It's like a calculator on your phone, but it's a QR code generator.
And it's Firefox only, which is just like really kind of cool because most people just build Chrome extensions these days.
That's true.
Huh. I didn't know that QR code was a registered trademark. I just learned that.
I believe it. I didn't know it, but when you said it, I believed you.
Should we contribute French? Translated in English and German already. That's so interesting.
Certainly.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Should we keep looking at other projects? Or do you want to? I don't know if I'm
Sure.
actually going to do
Sure,
this
why
right
not?
now, but I'm like, I'm curious. I'm going to keep these in my tabs though.
Hey,
Maybe I'll come back to
you
this
got
later.
1 week. You got a
Yeah.
week to do 3, and I assume one of them is going to be from your company. So
Yeah, there's a chance I'll
basically,
be able to squeeze one more of those out. Yeah. Thimble, online code editor geared to people teaching on HTML, CSS. Good first product. That sounds kind of interesting. Okay, curious. Oh, it's Mozilla. That's cool. Online code editor. There's a lot of these code editors. I know, like, I think the one that VS Code uses, because like I use VS Code for editing. Can you see that right now? Oh, it's still showing my browser. Never mind. I'm just sharing the browser, but that's pretty cool. Just like an online. I don't think I've ever actually used this.
I think code editors is like chat apps.
Yeah.
I mean, like we don't really need a million more of these, but they're easy to make, and apparently there's more money in it. So why not? Let's just keep making them.
I like how this one highlights the element that you're currently in. That's kind of a neat way of like illustrating, right? Like,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Light Table, I think. No, Light Table only did live updates. It didn't do this. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really neat. I like that. Design a little bit here. Let's do background. Yeah, well, that's cool.
Is it? And of course, it's collaborative, I assume.
Yeah,
everything is these days.
You can sign in. It looks like. I don't know if you can. You know what I really like in terms of apps like this? My favorite right now is Code Sandbox. Have you seen that one? That one's amazing.
Code Sand. This sounds familiar.
It's like you can do.
Wait. Hang on a sec. Go back. Why is the text off to the right?
Sorry, in Thimble?
Yeah. When you did mobile view?
Oh, because the padding. That's why it was 100 pixel padding, so it just pushes it to the side of the container. Right?
Yeah, but shouldn't the padding be the same on the right side?
But it can't. It just breaks because it's not enough space. So the box model will just.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like.
You're like, how'd you do that?
Yeah, I spent a summer teaching HTML and CSS online.
Nice, yeah.
Video mentoring. So I'm like, wait a second, why is it doing that? Sorry, old habit.
That's awesome. Yeah, so this one's really cool because you can have like multiple files, and it like supports like you can pull in any node dependency.
And it runs it on their like they have like a server that they can run it on for you. Yeah,
so you get like the server that it boots up.
Yes. Who runs really Sandbox Editor? Who's it from?
Who does this? I don't remember. It's not like anyone. It's just like its own company. I think it's just like there's a person that made it and then built a company around it after. But I've seen him on Twitter talk about how like the back end does like the Webpack compiling and all this cool stuff that he's built. He's had to like build like these servers that can like handle like bundling multiple hundreds or thousands of bundles. It's just kind of cool. So yeah, that one's really neat. You can also use like code. I like to use CodePen sometimes, which is like a more simple one for like just like hacking on things quickly. But anyway,
yeah, I use Vim, and I know there are better options, but
well, it's like I use VS Code on my Mac, but like when I want to like work on something online that I can like share with someone as an example, it's like easy to just do it on the web because then I can just share the link to the thing, like having to push it somewhere and like or copy and paste it somewhere. So
I know like you're not a true programmer until you use an SD or an IDE, but I don't know. Using Vim has suited me well in my career, and I thought it's unlikely to change.
Are you sure? Because I feel like you're not a trooper. I mean, I kind of hate that phrase, but I feel like you're not
Yeah,
really a
yeah.
trooper unless you use Vim. Like that's like you've reached enlightenment when you're like a fully Vim power user. Like
Yeah, like they're different. Like the XKCD comic where they're using butterflies to code on by waving the air, which causes cosmic rays
yeah,
to flip bits on the magnetic hard drive.
yeah,
So yeah, there's two ways to go. Either you go higher, which is you get a more of a view of all of the whole code base. So if you work at a big company, I assume buffer is kind of in that range. And you kind of need to see multiple files and blah blah blah. Or you can go deeper and just go like, touch the bare metal a little closer. So yeah, it depends on your needs, I guess. Or in my case, just what you're used to.
yeah, exactly. I think that's part of it too. It's like part of what you got started with, but yeah, that's it exactly. So
Yeah. So where were we?
Well, I don't know. We were talking about Hacktoberfest. I can't remember how I got to that. We can put that on the back burner. I'm gonna think about it more because I'm like now more motivated. Like I can do this. It's 3 more, and I get a T-shirt. So something about that is like motivating me.
and what does the T-shirt look like? Does it say?
I'm gonna find it again. Let's see, Hacktoberfest limited edition T-shirt. I'm pretty sure I thought I saw it on the page somewhere, but now I'm not. No, I'm not seeing it.
We have meetups as well, or maybe the logo on the page is the shirt. Hacktoberfest number 5, 2018. I mean that would make a cool shirt. I mean,
yeah, I can't find it. I'm just like reading their rules about quality requirements, but. Yeah, PRs that are automated, not okay. Disruptive PRs that are annoying.
And so there are no rules about contributing to your own company at work.
No, as long as it's a public repository. I mean, yeah, it doesn't say that. It's like you don't just like remove white space. Well, it's okay to fix typo. They say, but like five PRs that remove stray white space is like not cool. Like you're not gonna, it's not gonna count.
So there are judges at the end of this, or
yeah. So that's what I wondered. I mean, as you saw, it said that I had made 2. That's obviously automated, but I'm wondering if at some point there's someone that goes in and does like a quick like gut check, like looks at the PRs and says like, okay, are these,
And you have to sign up for it explicitly, right?
You do. You have to authenticate.
So a guy who does open source code as a living, and just so happens to do 50 in the first week, doesn't automatically just get a shirt in the mail. It's like, oh, where'd this come from?
Yeah, I think it's from the moment you sign up, it'll start tracking. I think is how I understand it. So, but I don't know. Maybe it's the day out because I feel like when I signed up, I already had one. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's possible I could have had all.
I can totally see it being like beginning October 1st, and whether you sign up or not, it'll still count. It's just you have to sign up actually.
I think, I think those 2 I have will count if the other 3 are like not my own. Like I feel like if they're all like Buffer and I work for Buffer, it's gonna be like, hey, that's cool. You just kind of did your job. So I feel like I don't know, if I was a judge, I'd be like, and again, if there's a judge in the situation, like I would be like, okay, cool, like they did contribute.
Well, why don't you add something to Code Companion? Just pull something and.
Yeah, right. I could do that, except I don't have anything there.
It's a public repository.
I just don't have like a version of Code Companion that like I want to work on right now. Like they're all just kind of like
take what you did with Blessed and just add it as a subfolder and throw it in. Do it.
It's true. You could do that. Yeah. It just kind of feels weird to make a pull request on your own repository that you have to merge it. Like it's not.
Okay, so you want to do this the real way. You want to do it straight. That's great. I commend.
I think so.
But
I don't know. I need to.
I don't know. I think this offline QR code thing is a good place to start. Well, what I mean,
Yeah, I
see,
like that
what
one. That one
else?
was cool.
What do you like working on, or what projects do you admire?
I like to do like I do like actually like documenting things, and I like doing design type things, so like improving the appearance or something like that, or like giving it like a better look, improving the UI.
Okay, you must
So
have been on a website recently where you looked at the design and you're like, that's totally off. You must have seen that
I'm
somewhere.
sure I haven't been actually thinking about it though. I should be more conscious of that now.
Well, actually, I think people should be less conscious of that because it drives people crazy and stuff like
Well, I
that.
can't
And
help it myself, right? I'm always thinking like I see a website and I'm like, oh, I don't like that design, or I don't like this about it because I build websites, so I'm like,
exactly, yeah. But like, hey, if it's done, if it exists already, or if you already noticed it, then you might as well take advantage of it. But
yeah,
anyways,
that's so funny. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
apparently GitLab has some open ones. Of course, it's kind of funny because on
GitLab is
GitLab,
tough.
yeah, GitLab
GitLab.
is hosted on GitLab. So how would they track that if it's a GitLab, right?
That's a very good question. I guess it wouldn't.
Yeah,
It's unfortunate. A lot of GitLab stuff is embedded code,
mm,
CI pipeline building stuff,
yeah, stuff like that.
DevOps, a lot of DevOps stuff. But if that's your cup of tea, then go for it. But
Yeah,
hmm. I'm sure you can find something in the next week that is relatively low hanging fruit, and
yeah. I think I'll keep looking. Yeah, if you see anything that looks like it might be a good one, I'm gonna I'm gonna keep looking for sure.
have you? Was it you that showed me the Yes project?
I don't think so, but I
Okay,
need to.
do you know what Yes is? It's a Unix or Linux command where if you type yes enter, it'll just it'll just output the word yes a million times, like infinitely.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And I believe it's used to test like streams and like input output scenarios, but other than that, it's just useless. It's a utility that repeats yes over or any word you want over and over. And there's a project on GitHub like implementing yes in like as many programming languages as possible. And
It's
I'm like,
hilarious.
oh, I can find one that isn't done yet and can contribute to that.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
I don't think that's really an option anymore.
It's one of those
Because
things that, yeah.
the only languages I know are already taken.
What about WebAssembly? Has someone done what a WebAssembly version?
I don't know. Maybe. What's the extension for WebAssembly?
Usually like .wasm or something like that.
Well, I don't see it, so um,
But
maybe.
also, but WebAssembly is like consumed by the JavaScript, so it would
Yeah,
become like
it's essentially fancy JavaScript.
I don't really, yeah, I'm not really sure how
It's
you do that.
JavaScript that looks like C++. plus plus.
Yeah, it could still be done like like maybe the WebAssembly portion returns the word yes, and then you just but that's kind of like silly, like it doesn't really. So yeah,
Yeah, but the whole thing is kind of dumb, anyways. But
yeah. I love that. Someone's digging. Oh yeah, you sent that to me. Nice.
just for fun.
Yeah, I'll keep looking. I'm gonna try and find something. Like
Yeah,
it's true. I may get another one or two for my own stuff, but I do feel like if it's just my own stuff, yeah,
but
yeah.
so you said most of your time is spent reviewing pull requests at your
Generally, yeah.
company.
Well,
So so
like a lot of that, and like planning and scoping and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
so does that consist? Is that mostly code review, or is that kind of like signing off on things?
It's mostly Yeah, it's mostly like code reviews. And sometimes it's like, oh, it's a mix of two things. It's a mix of like code reviews by people on the team, and then the other thing is like reviewing like RFCs. We usually call them, like where it's like a document someone puts out, like proposing some solution to a problem or some way of building something. Like, I think we should do this to fix this problem, right? So we those are often shared by email. So reviewing that, commenting on those kinds of things, like just thinking about the architecture. That's been a lot of my time. We've had this issue lately with like a dependency of one of our packages. It's like a several layers deep dependency in Node. So, but if you go all the way down to the bottom, it's this module called grpc, and it's like an RPC binary, but it's a binary. Like, it has to be compiled. It's not like native JavaScript.
Right.
And these binaries, when it comes to Node, are really annoying, at least in this situation, because like we have this command. We run like the npm install, basically, that installs all our packages in our app. But when we run that like on our terminals and install the modules and stuff, but we run the server in a Docker container, but we like mount the Node modules into the Docker container. So when it mounts them all in there, it's all well and good until the Docker container's code tries to execute this like non-native binary, and it just throws an error because it can't run like a Darwin Mac-based. Yeah. Right. So
I've encountered so many problems with that.
It's so frustrating. Now, it's funny because a lot of the people who've worked on this, like our development environment, are all on Linux, and they don't have these problems because Docker is the same as their native system, and there's never any problems. But like as soon as you're on Mac or I would say Windows, but all the Windows people just run Linux on their Windows machine. So yeah, again, it's just basically if you're on Mac, you're kind of hooped in the situation. So we had these like weird hacks in place to like fix it. Where it was like, okay, you npm install, but then you have to like run the second npm install command, where it was like npm build, and then it would like build it for the correct architecture, and like that would work, and then you would just like reboot the server, and it would like pick up the new binary. But anytime you'd run npm install again, or even just add a package, it would rebuild the wrong binary. So you have to like keep rebuilding the binary over and over, and it's just super painful. Like recompile right from source and stuff. Sometimes it would do that. It was really annoying. So basically what I've done is like I've changed it so like the code that is inside the container is like separated from the code that we run npm install on now. So now you can run npm install on your computer. It doesn't touch the server code, and we can just like the server itself can run npm install inside the container. So that's what a recent I made a PR for that. It's one of the PRs I have open right now. And also when you asked about like the kind of stuff I do, like I put together like a document like with my proposal for it, and then like I linked to my PR saying here's what I think will be like a good way to solve the problem. Because like literally everyone on our team has had this problem, and some of them don't talk about it anymore because they've learned to just like do these commands and get over it. But like, but we had a guy come back from not having done much development for like maybe like a month or two, and right away he's like, "Hey, I'm seeing this problem, and can't get past it." And yeah, it not only
that just do this.
Yeah, done. Right. And everyone's trying the usual, like, oh, did you try just deleting Node modules and try to, the classic. But that doesn't work, right? It just keeps rebuilding. So anyway, I saw that message in Slack, and I was like, this is the final straw. So that's what I started.
So wait, tell me again. Your solution is to have two Docker containers. One that is the main container, and then the other one is a architecture specific Node modules volume, basically.
Sort of. So we have only one container, and we still just have one in my solution. But what was happening before was that like we use something called we'll use Yarn workspaces, which means you can like have multiple npm packages in the same like repository. Like you can create a mono repo where it's like a single repository, but multiple like npm packages inside of it. So it's each folder has its own like package.json.
It seems to be a theme among a lot of your company's projects.
Yeah, a lot of them have this, and so it's a great way to build because then like you can publish to npm, and there's a tool called Lerna that can manage the workspace well and makes it easier to like publish and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
Yeah, but so basically the way we had it laid out in our code was like all of these packages, and most of them are like front end packages that like export a React component, right? Because they're like part of our front end UI, and maybe they export like a reducer and like middleware and stuff. Like they export basically what is their concern, right, as part of the app. But alongside all these sort of like front end components, we had a package called server, which was like the actual like express server that we ran. So that was all well and good, but you'd run like yarn or npm install at the top level, and it installs all the dependencies and it hoists the dependencies up to like the top level root folder or whatever and stuff like that. And again, at this point, everything's fine. npm's installed correctly. All the node modules are installed correctly. But then, and this is all done on the user's local computer. We don't do the npm install inside of a Docker container because it's like resource-wise, it's just too slow. And it's not efficient for watching in our use case right now, at least. So we do that there, and then we just put the code for the server inside of the Docker container. If that makes sense. Or sorry, that was part of my fix. But originally we were putting like all the code inside of we were mounting this entire volume of code into Docker and running the server, which was causing the server to run, and the server was referencing the node modules that had the wrong binary, right? Because remember, that binary was built on the host system, not on the container. So my fix was, instead of mounting our entire app folder into the Docker container, let's just mount just the server folder, run an install, like an npm install or yarn inside there. So it just installs its own dependencies. And then that way it's like, it's no longer, the server package is no longer like a sibling package of all of our other front-end packages. I just moved it to like an extra, it's still inside the same repository, but I just moved it up a level out of this like packages folder that we have. So now it's like isolated and it's mounted by itself into the Docker container. And basically that means you do have to run like 2 separate like yarn commands, because you have to do yarn once for your front end stuff and yarn again inside the container for the server dependencies. But then you don't get this problem with the Does that make sense?
Can you? Yeah, I think it does. Can you include the second yarn command, the one that's inside the container, as part of the run command?
Possibly, but it just depends. Like we, our setup right now is very manual. Like you have to, I shouldn't say manual, but like when you have to like, man, I'm starting to get kind of, hold on, I gotta make some gross sounds.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, not doing good. You can, I can actually show really quick what I mean. Maybe this is interesting. But like our dev environment in our company is like made up mostly of just like a bunch of let's see, all these like buffer dash folders are just like, you know, GitHub repositories, and then there's like all of these Docker compose files, which are like, we have a script that like concatenates these into like a final file that is used to like set up all the Docker containers that need to run. So basically, though, buffer publish is the product that I work on a lot, right? So if you go into that folder and you look at its Docker file, let's see. Right, so right now, what's happening is.
But by the way, are you allowed showing me this code? Like,
yeah, this is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
This code isn't public, but there's nothing in here that's like secret.
Right.
We're pretty open about how we do stuff, but.
Yeah, it's buffer. I should have known.
yeah, exactly, right. Yeah. So, so basically, it's copying this here. It's doing the yarn install packages. It's adding these assets, and then it runs the node server. Oh, sorry, this is actually the wrong one. I'm like, this actually looks right. So we have a Docker file .development. This is the one that runs. So this is the one that runs in production, and this is the one that runs locally. And what you'll notice that's different about these two is like in production, we do that thing where we just take the server package, like we mount that into the container. But locally, because this is not the fixed version, there's actually no command to do it here because it's in the Docker compose file. But if you do like that, so yeah, if you look at like this here, oh, I hope there's nothing like secretive in there. That's all right. May have to scrub that part of the video, but there's basically like I think it's just like test keys, they're not production keys, but basically basically we like mount this whole folder into like into the container, right? Like we mount this whole code. So if you look at this, like if I go like Docker exec, if I like go inside the container that's running right now, I think it's running right now. I have to, it's just bash. Yeah.
Not Ash.
So yeah. Although we use Alpine Linux for lots of our containers, and that it actually is Ash for Alpine Linux. It's like a different version of Bash. It's weird.
Does using Alpine save considerable resources?
It's like size, like the size of the image is much reduced.
Oh, I bet.
Like an Ubuntu is like 800 megs, and like an Alpine is like 50 megs, you know, or whatever. You can make it even smaller. So yeah, it's like
okay, yeah, that would make a difference.
But basically, so you can see here, like the entire app is inside the container right now. So when our container is running locally, the command is just like node, you know, packages, server, index, right? But because of the way like node works, it's going to use like the node modules here, which are the same ones on my system, which are the same ones that have the wrong version of the binary. So my fix is to like mount it so that when I do ls here, you're just going to see like the contents of packages server, and then it has its own node modules that it can reference and work with instead of having like, you know, yeah. Does that make sense?
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. It was worth explaining that or trying to explain that because even I'm like, I think that's how it is. So I don't know. But
so wait, what was the thing you used? You said you used Yarn something?
Yarn workspaces, which is
a feature of Yarn.
Yeah, it's a feature of Yarn where you say like, and you don't. This is where it gets confusing for me even. But you can use Yarn workspaces and not use Lerna. But essentially, like Yarn workspaces lets you like have a single folder, and inside that folder you'll have like multiple packages, and those packages can like depend on each other, and you can work on them at the same time without having to like publish them to npm. So in one package you could say, you know, require package A. So yeah, so package B, you could say require package A and then use functions for package A in its code. And if you go to package A and make changes to package A, those changes will reflect immediately. And by the way, I'm not saying like dot like go back a directory and require package A. I mean like a bare import, like an actual import from your package.json. Because what actually happens is when you run the yarn command, it does symlinking so that there is a node modules and it does point to that your package, but it just points to the local copy of package A, right? So it allows you to do this thing where you get like the benefits of having like isolated packages, but like that organization, but the same benefits of like having the files in the same directory, but they're separate packages. And then in theory, at any point, you could pull that one of those packages out and put it in a separate repository, but it would still work. It would just go to npm instead of fetching from your local system, right? Because the way when you run the yarn command, it does like this traversal and looks for the dependencies. And if it can't find the matching one in your directory, it just goes to npm like it would normally do. So that's what Workspaces does. That's what Lerna does. So Lerna does that. And when you use Yarn Workspaces with Lerna, it just takes the part of Lerna that does that dependency resolution and it just replaces it with Yarn. So like if you just install Lerna and use that, it has its own code and algorithms for like doing that resolution. But if you're a Yarn person, you can just say, hey, Yarn Workspaces is true. And then that tells Lerna to just use that algorithm basically.
Okay, so they can interoperate basically.
Yeah, it's like if you picture like Lerna is like the bigger thing, and Yarn Workspace is a smaller part of it because Lerna does all this like package management in terms of like publish all your packages at once, and like Yarn Workspaces doesn't care about that. Like you have to do it manually. So they kind of like, you know, if it's like not a Venn diagram, but like, you know, if it's a chart, like the big circle's Lerna, the smaller circle's like Yarn Workspaces inside of it.
Okay, that makes sense. I was just, as you were describing it, I was thinking like, you know, there's a lot I don't know about working in a relatively large company or development team, because all of my jobs have been small dev teams. Like I've either been completely by myself or I've led a small team, but I've never had to like, you know, manage giant code bases. In fact, like, and this is where I feel, the whole imposter syndrome thing. Like this is something I've never done, even though 90% of developers which is I've never enter this scenario where there's an existing code base and I have to go in, figure out how everything works, and then
Yeah.
add things to it afterwards. So I've been in the field for like, you know, years and years and years, and I still feel like a newbie because I don't know how some of these things work. But anyways,
Well, hey, this is a great chance we can share that knowledge. I just saw my ticker go over the 2 hour mark, and I think we should probably cap it around there. If only because I don't know who will listen to more than 2 hours of me talking. That's for sure.
I'm not even sure I would.
This I like to watch videos at like double speed, like turn the YouTube thing onto double speed and watch it. But even then, it's still an hour long. So
okay, but definitely before we go, we have to talk about your public speaking thing.
Yeah. Let's do that. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, I'll share a link in the show notes.
Yeah,
we have
sure. I watched it. It was pretty cool.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
I love how it was like a what do you do for what do you do for work?
Yeah.
And you ended up giving your entire life story.
Well, it's funny because I sat down to like write this and I was like, what do I do for work? Well, you know, hold on, I'm just making sure I just noticed my like Mac power cable is like inside of my space heater, but it's fine. Or it's like in my like baseboard heater, but it wasn't melting, so that's good. But yeah, I started writing it down and I was like, you know what? I can't really like, I could sit down and tell these people like how I code things and like but none of them were developers, right? Like there was maybe like 1 or 2 people who like had some familiarity with like basic coding, but like, so I was like,
which is funny because I thought that at a co-working space, it would be mostly developers.
Right. Yeah.
But from what you tell me, I guess it's not, which is interesting.
Yeah, there were people who had like, one guy is like he can like, what does he do? He told me he teaches people like how to detect liars, like, you know, like read people's like expressions. And anyway,
dang, that's cool.
Really interesting. Yeah, and he's actually writing a book on it. And yes, I was sitting next to him at a table, and he was like, "Hey, come over here. What do you think of this like phrase that he written down?" He was a nice guy. You
should have lied to him.
Yeah, if he you know, it's funny because it was like exactly kind of that. Like it was like part of his like thesis of the book, and it was like figuring people out. And I felt in the very moment, I'm like, I better not lie because he probably would know. He asked
I think you should have lied to see if he's full of crap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but no, it's a very diverse group of people, right? Like there's a guy who works for like his own like creative marketing agency. There's like there's one guy who's like a hypnotherapist, works out of there as well. So yeah, totally diverse. But that's why I thought if this was a tech conference, that's one thing. But like I'm talking here about like, you know, I'm talking to people who are just, you know, your average people, and I think it'll be kind of interesting. So yeah, I don't think I'd ever give a talk like this at a conference because it's not likely to be very popular. And I didn't love that it was just me talking about myself the whole time, but I had a lot of fun. And you know, if you saw the end where he asked questions, he was kind of like, "What's something you would like recommend people do?" And it was in that moment that I thought, yeah, I didn't really give a lot in my talk other than just about me, which is fun, but like.
What was the tool you recommended?
It's called
Rescue. Something for like time management. What?
Yeah, Rescue Time. It's just this app that tracks all the time you spend.
Rescue Time, is that Mac only?
No, it works on Android on my phone. I'm 99% sure it's on Windows too. They're all over. Yeah. Again,
do you think there's a Linux version?
Oh yeah, almost certainly. They seem like, I mean, I can't guarantee it, but they're very like good with their like support. Like I know they have apps for everything because they want to be able to like help you track your time. So the thing with that, of course, this goes to our whole federated data thing. I mean, it is there. They do have your data, and that's quite like you can enable things which I do, like which website are you visiting at every moment, and like what tabs are open, and like, you know, like it can get very like, and it's cool because I can see like what
they transmit the information to their servers.
Yeah, so it's all like hosted, right? Like it's all sent over the wire. So
okay.
I've given all my stuff. I've given it to the gods.
Why not just have the exact same software and have it write to a file on your hard drive, like that?
Yeah. Oh, anyways. because then it wouldn't be a web app. It would be a desktop app. But yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it's a web app. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's a desktop app that does the tracking, but the desktop app does almost nothing. It just says, "Hey, I'm tracking. If you want to see details, click here." And then there's a whole interface and like online way of
Oh,
viewing your
it keeps track of just your web activity. Or
no
is it?
everything. It's so it lives in the system so that it can know everything, and it can like know like what file I'm looking at in like VS Code or Sublime Text. It looks at like title bars and stuff like that, you know, and like pulls out information like that. But it all gets transmitted over the web to their servers, and it's stored there. So, yeah.
Okay. You got me excited for a moment.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's fun. So
yeah, so your talk, it was very interesting. Like even even though the guy at the end was like, "That's more about you than I ever." What did he say? Like more than I ever wanted to know, or more than I expected.
I would know, or something like that. Which I was like, okay, that's good. Yeah.
but it painted a great picture of how you got to where you are from the start, right? So
it was fun.
I thought it was relevant, and it was very well presented. You had like these really artsy photos, like you put stock photos and like on your slides is great. Like
yeah, I thought I tried to make it look nice. I think he said it more than he'd ever expected. I think, which I took as a compliment. Like I tried to make it like look nice and well presented, because even if like the subject matter wasn't like super actionable for anyone, like I did want to like practice kind of like presenting and speaking, and they had a whole sound system there, a video system that they had just like had installed in that room, and they really wanted to like test it out.
That setup was pretty cool. Like
yeah,
you said that it was like a renovated garage or something.
Yeah, they used to be like a print shop, I think, this whole place that I co-work out of, and so that room was like accessible via like a big like back door that would open up for like trucks to take all the print or whatever, you know, that they were maybe like the flyers.
Okay, well, you couldn't tell that from the video because
oh no, yeah, it's totally changed.
It's just completely renovated. Like it looks like a mini auditorium.
It's super nice. Yeah. There's even like a balcony with like a glass balcony, and they can be more seating up there and stuff. And they've installed these cameras, so you saw there's like 2 points of view, and I saw the booth in the back where he could like switch between them and like.
Oh, they're really going out all out on this, huh?
Yeah.
And how many people were there?
Oh, it was maybe like 7 or 8 people. Yeah, it was a very small group, which was nice. It wasn't like I wasn't overwhelmed or anything like that. It was like,
for a first time,
yeah, it was less nerve-wracking. So,
well, that's cool.
Yeah, thanks for asking about
it. So you definitely do it again, and would you do this particular talk again? Like if you reuse it?
I might pull off elements of it for if I want to like give my story again. It was fun for me, almost like in a journaling way, because I felt like I got to kind of create like a media snippet of like my history and like how I got here. So that was kind of fun to make, you know.
You should definitely like keep a copy of the video and stuff.
yeah, I'm gonna do that. So yeah, so I like that aspect of it. And similar to this, even if no one ever watches this, it's fun that you and I now have this like artifact of a conversation, which is kind of fun. You know, like it'll live on.
Exactly. Lots of little things. Let's just keep pumping them out, right?
So, yeah. Well, thanks so much, Brandon. I'm glad we could talk again today and record this. If anyone has listened this far, way to go.
Isn't he still on? Is William still there?
William's still there. I don't know if I'm guessing he's like put it on in the background of our voices.
Exactly. Hey, William, we're about to close up.
Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna go back. I don't know if he said anything else in the chat. Oh gosh, yeah. He's like, I feel bad now because he said things in the chat.
Well, it's okay because he's not part of the conversation. So.
Oh yeah.
So hear about him.
Yeah, the app's called Rescue Time. He asked me what the app was called that I was talking about. It's called Rescue Time, William, if you're interested. I do think it's like, I don't remember what the free plan is. I think if you want to track more things, it might be paid. But I personally get a lot of value out of it because I get like a weekly email that's like, here's what you did, how much you spent your time. I enjoy being able to like see how I track my time. I may stop paying for it at some point in the future. It's not a huge expense for me, but it's like, I like the data. It's like cool to see the data and be like, yeah, I spent more time coding this week, and yeah,
I enjoy having that kind of data on hand. I guess I'll just have to write my own scripts that does it. But that did inspire me. I'm very curious.
Well, to see. I wanted to write a program to do this. Like before I started using Rescue Time, I was like, I need an app that does this. And my first plan was to write an app that would take a screenshot of my screen every like X minutes, and then it would compress it as like either a video or like a GIF at like a really high speed. So it was more like a fun way of like seeing my day on the computer.
I did that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. In fact, I have a blog post about it, and I included the code on it. Like,
oh, nice. Yeah.
I'll send you a link. But yeah, so I did that. And if I got inspiration from a guy who used a program on Mac. The reason I wrote the code is because it wasn't available on Mac. But since you have a Mac, you could actually use the original thing that does the thing.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Called Synapse? No. I'll send you a link afterwards.
Sign it after and send it to me. Yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, well, thanks, William, for hanging out. Thanks to anyone else who watches this.
And to anyone in the future who made it this far, that you're ridiculous. But
well, hey, when we're famous, Brandon, people are gonna go back and watch your old stuff, right? And they'll be like, wow,
exactly, right.
Yeah.
So next time, what should we do? Or should we stop recording and then plan next time?
I think we will. Yeah, let's stop. We could talk about it. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for watching 2 hours of us shooting the breeze.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
We'll see you next time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.